Welcome to the third in my Global Consequences series, the Pomperipossa Effect. The videos aim to revisit the course, The Global Consequences of IT, that I ran at the London School of Economics way back in the day. Students on that course would often comment that I had a one-track mind, and what, pray, was that one track? Let me give you a clue. It's a three-letter word ending in X. Have you figured it out yet? That's right, tax. What else could it be? The topic of taxation kept recurring in my lectures, particularly whenever I drew on my book, The New Barbarian Manifesto. In the Q&As, students would often regale the class with crazy tax policies from their home countries. This present video recounts one such example, probably the most idiotic tax regime I have ever come across. It is so absurd that the only way I can describe it is in the form of a fairy story. Once upon a time, like all good fairy stories start, once upon a time, long, long ago, well, actually it was 1975, in a land far, far away, Sweden, so it's not too far, there lived a kindly fairy godmother whose name was Astrid Lindgren. Now, Astrid brought smiles to the faces of children all over the world with her stories about Pippi Longstocking and other charming characters. Indeed, her books became very successful globally and sold in vast numbers. Her royalty income just grew and grew. And so she lived happily ever after? Or did she? Unfortunately not. An evil witch in the form of the Swedish Social Democrat government had other ideas. These numpties introduced a new tax regime whereby self-employed individuals had to pay both regular income tax and employers' fees. In Lindgren's case, this meant a marginal tax rate of 102%. Unbelievable. She had to pay more in tax than she actually earned. Subsequently, this idiocy has been dubbed the Pomperipossa Effect after an allegorical article, Pomperipossa in Monismania. Apologies for my mispronunciation. An article which Lindgren published in Stockholm's evening tabloid newspaper Expressen on the 3rd of March 1976. In English, this translates as Pomperipossa in the world of money. Now, who was Pomperipossa? Well, in Swedish folklore, Pomperipossa was a witch whose nose grew bigger whenever she cursed anyone. Eventually, the length of her nose got so large that it set in train a sequence of events that ended with her being tormented by crayfish and eventually turned into a rock. Now, even the Swedes, who are normally fairly passive over high levels of tax, were incensed with a tax rate larger than Pomperipossa's nose. Clearly, the obvious unfairness of it all could only end in tears. No surprise then when, later that year, the Social Democrats were thrown out of government after being in power for 44 years consecutively. So there was a happy ending after all. Astrid Lindgren did live happily ever after, paying a mere 80% of her income until she died in 2002. However, this isn't a fairy story, it's more a horror story. Not all the big bad witches have been turned into stone. No, they have spread out from Sweden to join governments all around the globe, pushing their elongated noses into everyone's private affairs. And now COVID-19 places them on the high moral ground and gives them an even better justification for excessive tax grabs. So be prepared when the nightmare of the Pomperipossa effect suddenly appears in your country, stealing your hard earned savings.